Welcome to Not Your Average Counsellor, the space where we tackle the unfiltered, often messy realities of love, relationships, and human connection. I'm V Vinci, and I am not your run-of-the-mill counsellor. With over a decade of experience working with clients and my own lived experiences to draw from, I help people all their hidden parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because only when we face our truth can we step into our most authentic selves. This series, Messy Truths, is where we dive headfirst into the things we're all thinking, but nobody's brave enough to say out loud. You know, those 2 a.m. thoughts that make you question everything about your relationship, your choices, your sanity. We're breaking down the tough questions people are often afraid to ask. The ones that make you squirm, laugh nervously, and then immediately text your friend saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that episode?" We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and social dynamics at play. Have you ever wondered if it's manipulative to use your partner's insecurities to win arguments? Or questioned whether you should stay with someone who refuses to work on their mental health? If you've ever found yourself thinking, is it selfish to not want children when my partner desperately does? Or should I fake orgasms to protect my partner's feelings? You're not alone, and you're definitely in the right place. No sugarcoating, no cliches, just honest conversations about the messy, complicated, sometimes hilarious reality of being human in relationships. This is where your inside thoughts finally get their moment in the spotlight. Let's get uncomfortable together. Hello there, I'm V Vinci, and welcome back to Not Your Average Counsellor. Today we are talking about one of the hardest crossroads couples face. Should you end a relationship because of incompatible life goals? This is one of those topics that hits people right in the chest, because it's not about whether you love each other. It's about whether the life you want and the life they want can actually coexist. Whether the future you're building together is aligned, or whether one of you is quietly shrinking to keep the relationship alive. Most people don't realize this, but incompatible life goals are one of the biggest reasons that relationships end. Not because the love is gone, but because the future doesn't fit. And that's a very particular kind of heartbreak. It's not dramatic. It's not even explosive. It's quiet. It's slow. It's the ache of realizing that the person you adore might not be the person you can build a life with. So let's unpack this properly. Not in a surface level way, not in a just compromise kind of way, but in a real grounded, emotionally honest way. So let's start with the difference between preferences and core values. Some disagreements are small. How you decorate the house, what car to buy, whether you get a dog or a cat. These are preferences. They matter, but they don't necessarily define your identity. Other disagreements shape your entire trajectory. Children, marriage, ambitions, where you live, how you want to spend your time, what kind of lifestyle you want, how you see your future unfolding. These are core values. They're not negotiable. They're not flexible. They're not things you can just work around. Here's what this looks like in everyday life. One partner wants to live in the city surrounded by energy and opportunity. The other dreams of a quiet life in the country. One partner wants kids, the other is certain they don't. One wants to travel the world and live minimally. The other wants stability, a mortgage, and a long-term plan. These aren't small differences. They're identity level differences. And the question you need to ask yourself is this a detail or is this my identity? This is where it gets interesting. People often stay in relationships because everything else feels good. You get along, you laugh, you love each other, you're compatible in so many ways, but the future still doesn't fit. And that creates a very specific kind of grief. The grief of losing a possibility, an opportunity. The grief of realizing that love isn't the only ingredient in a long-term relationship. The grief of knowing that you can love someone really deeply and still not be able to build a life with them. This is something I see often in counseling. Couples come in saying, we love each other, but. And the but is always something big. Kids, marriage, religion, lifestyle, geography, ambition. And they're hoping that I am going to have the magic solution. But the truth is that some differences are workable and some aren't. So let's talk about when differences are manageable. So incompatibility might be workable when there is flexibility on both sides, when you can co-create a new shared vision without resentment, when neither person feels like they are losing themselves, when compromise feels collaborative rather than forced, and when both people are willing to stretch, not snap. These couples adapt and they evolve together. This is what it can look like. One partner wants to travel for a year. The other wants stability. They compromise by traveling for 3 months and then reassessing. Or one partner wants to move interstate for work, but the other is hesitant, but open to trying it for a year. Maybe one partner wants kids soon and the other one wants to wait a little longer, but not indefinitely. These are flexible differences. They're not identity level conflicts. They're timing, logistics, or lifestyle adjustments. But then there are differences that run way too deep. It becomes unworkable when one person must give up something meaningful to them, when the compromise feels like self-betrayal, or when communication repeatedly circles back to the same dead end, when resentment is already building. This isn't about stubbornness, it's about protecting your sense of self. One partner wants children, the other is certain that they don't. Now, we unpacked this, I don't know if it was last podcast or the one before, so you can go back to that one and go really deep into that. But effectively, that doesn't have a middle ground. One partner wants to live overseas permanently. The other wants to stay close to family. There's no middle ground. What if one partner wants marriage and the other one never wants to marry? Or one wants a high-achieving, career-driven life and the other one wants a slow, simple, quiet life. These types of things are preferences. They're core values. And when core values clash, someone has to shrink. So let's be honest for a minute. Many people stay in relationships because they're terrified of making the wrong choice. They think, what if I never meet someone like them again? What if I regret leaving? Maybe they'll change. Maybe I'm overreacting. Fear of loss can trap you in a holding pattern, but waiting rarely makes clarity easier. In fact, waiting often makes the heartbreak worse because the longer you stay, the more attached you become and the harder it is to walk away. This is where hope becomes dangerous. So hope can easily become denial. You need to ask yourself, has my partner ever expressed genuine willingness to shift, or am I assuming that they will eventually? Am I wanting them to become someone they're not? People can grow, but their core values are unlikely to flip. Someone who doesn't want kids is unlikely to suddenly want them. Someone who wants a quiet life is unlikely to suddenly crave a high-pressure career. And someone who wants to live overseas is unlikely to want to stay put. You can't build a future on the fantasy of who someone might become. I often say to people, well, you bought the worst house on the best street, and now you got to fix the bloody thing, right? You got to fix it up. But we all know that if you're in a fixer-upper, you are literally living in a shithole. So that's great when it comes to a house. But two things. One, we can't fix people. It's not our job. and it's an impossible task. And two, why did you fall in love with the person in the first place? Like, what was it about them? If you're wanting to be in a relationship to fix someone, then you've bought potential. You haven't actually seen the person for who they are. How you communicate about this type of core value impact really matters. Instead of saying, if you don't want what I want, we're done, which creates panic and defensiveness, try saying, I need to understand whether we can build a life that honors both of us. I don't want either of us to feel forced or cornered. This invites honesty instead of fear, and it creates space for truth instead of pressure. It allows both people to speak from clarity, not panic. And then there's the part that most people avoid, checking in with yourself. You'd ask yourself, what do I need to feel fulfilled in the long term? Will staying mean giving up something essential to me? Am I staying out of love or am I staying out of fear? If nothing changed in the next 5 years, how would you feel? Clarity often emerges when we listen to the quiet truth beneath the fear. You can imagine your life 5 years from now. You picture yourself still waiting for your partner to want kids, or still waiting for them to move, or still waiting for them to commit, and your chest tightens. Or you picture yourself giving up your dream of living overseas, or giving up your dream of a family, or giving up your dream of a certain lifestyle, and you can feel a heaviness. That heaviness is information. It's your body telling you the truth before your mind is ready to say it out loud. Sometimes the kindest choice is to end something that is good because it cannot become right. A healthy breakup can be respectful, loving, sad, and necessary. Choosing your future does not mean you never loved them. It means that honoring who you are becoming is as important as honoring them. And here's the part that often brings people to tears in counseling. Love is not the same as compatibility. You can love someone deeply and still not be able to build a life with them. You can love someone deeply and still need to walk away. You can love someone deeply and still know that staying would require you to shrink. Choosing a way forward comes down to one question. Can both of you build the life you want together without losing who you are? If both people are willing to build a shared vision, the relationship has room to grow. If one or both are holding on to non-negotiable futures that do not align, it may be time to part ways. Love matters, but so does the life you're building. You deserve a future that feels aligned, expansive, and true to who you are. A relationship should support your growth, not require you to shrink yourself to stay in it. So I want you to have a think about some questions. If you are experiencing a difference in your relationship, ask yourself, is this difference a preference or a core value of mine? Ask yourself, what part of myself would I have to sacrifice to stay in this relationship? And ask yourself, am I hoping they will change or am I accepting who they are? And finally, if nothing changed in the next 5 years, ask yourself how you would feel. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. If this episode has stirred something in you, let it. These big life direction questions aren't meant to be rushed or minimized. They're meant to be sat with. You deserve a future that feels aligned, grounded, and true to who you're becoming. Not a future you squeeze yourself into just to keep the peace. Come find me on socials and tell me what's landed for you or what you're still wrestling with. And if someone in your world needs this conversation, pass it on. Take care of yourself and remember, love matters, but so does the life you're building. One of my big goals for this year is to get this podcast into the ears of more people who genuinely need it. So if this episode has made you think, feel, or see things a little differently, I need to ask you a favour. Follow it, rate it, leave a comment, or share it with someone who might need it too. The more you pay it forward, the more I get to keep doing what I do and hopefully help a few more people along the way. And don't stop there. Be sure to tag me at @VVincieTherapist so that I can see and connect with you. I love hearing your thoughts and takeaways, so my inbox is always open. DM me anytime. Thanks again for listening. I'll catch you next time.